Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Heinrich and I'm the real nuclear physicist. Today's video we will be taking a look at some of the ludicrous claims that come from the dark underbelly of the internet, the Facebook science subreddit. First post today that we'll be looking at is somebody that claims cancer is a fungal parasite infection that destroys cells. I can with 100% certainty say that this is not true. Cancer is not the fungal infection. It's cells that have mutation damage that start to divide uncontrollably that eventually lead to cancer. Now on to the second one. No black holes or galaxies. The math is not related to our existence. Gravity doesn't exist because space doesn't exist. There is no place you need a force to hold you down. Everything is resting on what is denser. They created a fake reality and use math to justify it even though it doesn't exist. It's the same as a computer programmer making a game world or physics of that world. You don't need a force to hold you down because in no place do you float requiring this force. Gravity was invented for the fake world where you float. This post says a lot. Let's break it down into a few parts first. The first part saying that there are no black holes or galaxies. First of all, yes, there is. There's no way around that. So, black holes, just objects that's basically infinitely dense. In fact, NASA, I know none of the pseudoscience and flat earthers and all of them, you guys don't like NASA, but it's true. NASA took a photo of one of the black holes, which proved that they do actually exist. And galaxies not existing, I mean, if you go out on a clear night, you can see our arm of the Milky Way galaxy. That's not just something made up, it's not a projection in the sky, that's reality. Let's take a look at the second part. Gravity doesn't exist because space doesn't exist. This just isn't true. In fact, every object in the universe, in space, if you'd like to put it like that, experiences a gravitational force. Gravity is the force due to mass of an object. It's not something magical made up. It's not density like stated in the next part. In fact, if you go in the ISS, where there's technically no gravity because they're in constant free fall, and you make a ball of water and you inject a ball of oil. The oil would be in the center of the water because there's no inherent downward force. Once you do that on Earth, there's an inherent downward force called gravity. That force pulls the denser object downwards, causing the oil to float on the water. The next part of this is they created a fake reality and used math to justify. Now, 1 plus 1 is still 2. If you have one apple, another apple, put them together, you have 2 apples. Math is not something that's not real. In fact, math can be used to prove numerous things. And using the calculations from physical experiments, we can derive the answers such as the gravitational acceleration, the universal gravitational constant, and many other constants in the universe. In fact, math can be used to calculate pi, which is how we got the value for pi. Let's take a look at the next part. It says you don't need a force to hold you down because in no place you float requiring this force. And honestly, this sentence doesn't really make sense, but there is a force holding you down. That's reality. That's not something that you can just get past. In fact, if you take something and you drop it, it falls. Why? Because there's a force pulling it downwards. Now, I know most of you people would go out and say, helium balloons, why do they float? Once again, we go back to the density part. If you take a helium balloon inside of the ISS, it would not go up or down. Why? Because there's no inherent force pulling it downwards, pulling the denser air downwards at least. That's why helium balloons float on Earth. Now, let's look at some of the comments. So, the first comment says, laws of physics debunk both gravity and a spinning ball, while the sun is proven to be local. Game over right there. No, it doesn't. Laws of physics don't disprove gravity or anything. In fact, laws of physics are there because of gravity. We can use the laws of physics to prove the spinning ball. It's not the other way around. And yeah, it's not game over. Actually, it's game over for you. The next comment says, objects at rest remain at rest unless acted upon by another real force. Up is up, down is down. Thanks for stating Newton's first law of motion. And yes, it's true. A force at rest or in constant motion remains at rest or in constant motion unless another force is acted upon it. Now, gravity, being a real force, is acting upon everything with mass. That is why up is up and down is down. In fact, if you're in a place with no gravity, the concept of up and down don't make sense anymore because there is no up or down. The way that you are facing, your up is up, but if somebody across from you is turned around, your down is their up. Why? Because there's no gravity to give you an inherent down. Let's move on to our third topic, chemtrails. This is a post from the Chemtrails UK Facebook page, and this lady thinks she's found a way to get rid of chemtrails. Let's read. How to defeat the chemtrails on a hot sunny day. Get a tea towel, soak it in cheap clear vinegar, then hang it on the washing line. I'm on my third go today. The sky was completely covered in that milky white stuff, so I did my tea towel thing twice, and an hour later they were gone. Don't know if they noticed the huge hole I made in their chemtrailing, but they came back. So one more go should dissipate these few in half an hour. Something about the vinegar neutralizes or alkalizes them. I've cleared a massive hole of just clear blue sky right above me for most of the afternoon. If we all do it, the amount of money they're wasting on these chemtrails, and we can zap them all out with the tea towels soaked in clear vinegar. We're going to go through this part by part again. First part, should it be cheap vinegar, or can I use any vinegar, or the cheap ones, do they work better? Do they put some extra chemicals in there that you're not quite sure of, or is cheap the only thing you could have afford? The next part that we're going to take a look at is soaking it, hanging it on the washing line, and then a couple of hours later the chemtrails are gone. That's just the thing with contrails. Notice it's contrails because it's condensation trails. Is if the sun comes out, the air temperature changes, they're gone like that, which might explain there not being any more contrails in the sky above you. Once again, doing the vinegar thing, soaking your towels and let it become vapor to neutralize the chemtrails. Let's look at that just in reality for a moment. If the vinegar vapor starts rising and there's just a small breeze in any direction, where does all that vapor go? I mean, it's not even making sense. You hang your tea towels, but you go like 2 towns over and there the chemtrails would be gone. And the next thing is, if you look at a household vinegar, taking that concentration, I mean, it's probably like 0.66 mole per cubic decimeters. If we take that, do a few calculations, we'll get to around 15 parts per million. That's 15 parts per million. That's extremely little to remove all the chemtrails in your area. Sure, if you get 1 million people to do it, that would be a lot, but that would just cause the neighborhood to smell like vinegar. It's not really going to do anything to the chemtrails. But correct me if I'm wrong, maybe you've done the sums and you can show me the science and we can carry on and we can write a paper together. I mean, if we can prove this, then I think we might be in for a Nobel Prize in chemistry. Moving on to the next part, something about the vinegar neutralizes or alkalizes the chemtrails. Neutralize maybe if the chemtrails were basic, so if they were made of a base, but alkalizes not so much. See, vinegar inherently, CH3COOH, acetic acid, it's an acid. It's a big part of what vinegar is. That's why it's sour. Acids can't alkalize. It's acids acidifies. bases alkalizes. So it's quite difficult for an acid to alkalize something. Maybe neutralize. If you can show me your chemistry, it might be neutralizing, but I can promise you it's not alkalizes. On to the next one. This image just shows a globe as well as the flat plane and says that compasses can't work on a ball. I think something that most flat earthers struggle with is thinking in 3D. If you look at how a magnetic field forms, like our Earth's rotating core creates a magnetic field. If you look at how a magnetic field forms, it's in 3 dimensions. So it would go out of the globe, out of the North Pole into the South Pole, for example. If you take a compass or any magnetized needle for that matter, in the area of that magnetic field, it would follow the magnetic field lines, which is how magnets work. Now, if you look at the flat Earth, if you've got a giant magnet in the middle, sure, everything will point to it. But going around the Earth would not necessarily work as you'd think it would, as every few hundred kilometers you'd need to turn right if you go around on the equator. Whereas on the round Earth, the globe Earth reality, if you go around on the equator, you can just walk in a straight line. Keep walking and keep walking. And eventually, you'd get to the same point. I think Elon Musk once said, I'm speaking under correction, his favorite question to ask people is, I start at a point and I walk directly south. I turn 90 degrees and I walk directly east. And I turn 90 degrees again and I walk directly north. And I'm at the same place where I started. Where am I? Now that's something that can only happen on a round Earth or a globe Earth. And that's either, well, if you walk south, it's at the North Pole. Now, if you think about this on a flat Earth, if you start at the North Pole, you walk directly away from it. And you turn 90 degrees, and you keep walking in a straight line at 90 degrees. Your compass would start to deviate. So, in reality, a compass doesn't work on a flat level plane. That does it for today. I'd just like to thank everybody for watching. Remember to hit the like and subscribe button. You can also press the bell so you can get notifications every time I post a video. Next time we will be looking at 200 proofs why the Earth is flat. I'm not going to go through all 200 of them, probably the first 20 maybe. And then after that, we'll see where this thing takes us. Thanks for sticking with me. I'm Heinrich, the real nuclear physicist. Thank you.